the SM Media Podcast Network.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of our SM Media's Countdown to Cheltenham 2025. I'm Scott McPike. It's always a pleasure to be your host as always. It's always really good to be joined by Callum McClurkin from the Scottish Daily Mail. Callum, we always kind of like talking about racing, we always like talking about the Cheltenham Festival, but this week obviously we had a really bad week in the racing world, and it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's just devastating news, and it came through. Michael Sullivan died on Sunday, just aged 24. Yeah, just horrible. Racing stopped in Ireland till Thursday on that issue, and yeah, it's just utterly tragic, and you can never take for granted the sacrifice that jockeys make in this sport. You know, it is dangerous. There's been brilliant moving tributes pretty much all week, still coming in now. Point to point, World Today and the Racing Post on Wednesday had like 7 or 8 personal tributes to him. It's kind of the measure of the man as well, you know, not just as in the horse racing community, but as a person as well. I mean, a lot of pictures of him shared on social media after racing events and things. He seemed to be a young man that had time for everybody. A lot of tributes to him say that he'd be a perfect son to have, for instance, you know. And the real kind of cruel aspect of it for me is that there was a big burgeoning talent that was just kind of threatening to really come out. He was highly rated at Closutton. He'd come through a sticky patch after splitting with Barry Connell. He won a big race in Embassy Gardens in Tramore on New Year's Day that suggested that he's now back on the kind of right trajectory. And then, you know, a horrible incident at Thurles, and it's all gone, you know. And it's the ultimate risk that everyone takes in sport, and it can happen in any walk of life, really. You know, how it's just a reminder of how fragile life is. I mean, personally, I think I've watched that Marine National race about 10 times this week. The way to grieve is is different for everybody. You know, people will want to do podcasts, people won't want to do podcasts out of respect and things like that. So I mean, it's a personal choice to how people grieve about things, but I like to remember the kind of the highlights of his life. And he was so cool on the big occasion, you know, in the Marine National, for his only second ride ever at Cheltenham Festival and Supreme, to deliver him the time that he did and win quite well and be as confident as he was remarkable. And then getting the win in Jazzy Matty as well. He was 18-1 in the Boodles in a really tight finish. Showed his strength in the finish as well, and his timing and his judgment of pace in a big handicap like that at such a young age was remarkable. So yeah, it was a burgeoning talent, and I think he was ready to shine. I think racing, and that's kind of the depth of Morning, is in two fronts. One, because of his qualities as a person that seemed to shine through, and secondly, you can't forget there's just a sense of loss. They've lost a massive talent that had the future jump racing in his hand, because I do think that he was destined for the top.
Yeah, I think absolutely it was. Yeah, and as you say, I've watched that Marine National race a lot in the past few days. It was always the news we were dreading, and again, such a tragic incident. And as you rightly say, like, it was so many people come up with tributes over the week that we echo every word. One thing we will say is, obviously, like, yes, the talent was on show, but I didn't really realise just how like humble he was. And again, like, at the age of 24, coming through in a sport, like, again, you see it a lot. A lot of people, a lot of youngsters, maybe it does go to their head. It wasn't the case with Michael O'Sullivan at all. You could see he was just completely humble, respectful of the game, a real bright talent, and a really sad loss to the racing world. And we offer our condolences and our best wishes to his family, friends, and colleagues, and hope, obviously, he is honoured well in the next few weeks. Obviously, Cheltenham's at the massive occasion for the jump racing season, and I'm sure he will be honoured in the right way. And I'm hoping that like everybody who has been affected is receiving proper support, and we know one thing we know, Callum, they will all heading into the festival, heading in beyond. He'll be on their minds constantly in any sort of a race, any sort of win. He'll be the first name that comes up, and rightfully so.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, imagine the roof would come off if Marine Nationale won the champion chase.
Yes, 100%.
It's kind of a bit kind of like when Jack the Bromhead very sadly passed away as well. Honeysuckle won
Yeah,
the Mares Hurdle, and then the Rainbow kind of came out at Presbury Park that day, and Henry de Bromhead, emotional scenes pointing to the sky, things like that. I mean, racing is such. I mean, his family was steeped in
yeah,
racing history, from the outset, and that's kind of the culture in Ireland. Families are absolutely steeped into it. It's their world, and yeah, it's just incredibly sad all round, and it's important that we always remember the sacrifice that jockeys make. It is constantly dangerous. Even work riders. You're dealing with animals that are notoriously unpredictable,
mm-hmm.
and it's very, very hard. And he's not the only one that's lost his life doing something that he loves. And I think everybody has to remember all jockeys that have fallen in doing this sport, because without them it would be nothing. And everyone's aware of the risks. It's impossible to eliminate, and every sport has them, but it doesn't take away from how sad it all is.
No, absolutely not. And again, our condolences go out to the Sullivan family and everybody connected with the racing world. Moving in, obviously, to Tuesday, we did have kind of some handicap entries coming out for the races at the festival. We we're not going to go through every race, but some obviously entered, so that kind of give us I think we're pretty okay with the entries in the handicaps that we had anti-post picks on. We'll cover that later on as well. There was a couple of interesting things. I'm going to go to you first. What was your biggest takeaway from the kind of handicap entries that we got on Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, there's always one that kind of, charges in the market and is unearthed and splits opinion, and it's Copec de Me, isn't it?
Yes, it is,
this
yeah.
thing from France. It's come over, 5 runs. It's one way to bend the rules, isn't it? Just have your runs in France and then just come over. 136 mark. Don't know if they'll reevaluate that, but yeah, I mean, it looks workable, isn't it? Bought by GP McManus and we trained by Willie Mullins.
That in itself was enough to be like, right, okay, let's maybe jump onto that a wee bit. But he's favourite for 3 races. Yeah, I know.
Not 61 and not across 3 races.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a point now. He's another horse that's getting really silly shot that precious little about, unless you're an expert watching stuff from France. So, I mean, the mark looks reasonable, doesn't it? I mean, it's all very kind of Gaelic warriorish in the way it's happening, and he went off 13-8 and get beat.
Mm-hmm.
So 6-1 right now. I think you just have to kind of take a back seat and see how it develops. Because if he doesn't go, we will go for one of the races. I'd probably imagine it's one of the 2.5 mile races. It does go for there. Will this horse be sustained? Will it just be holding tentative favouritism at 61, or will it get back to 4s, or will it get back to 2s? Like a real genuine kind of handicap blot. The ownership, GP McManus, can certainly unearth one like that.
Mm-hmm.
The trainer's going to merit respect instantly. His French form seems to be working out reasonably enough. Beating debut where he probably shouldn't have been. Bit hit and miss. His last run certainly was encouraging. Yeah, but I mean, it's very hard to weigh up, and it's even harder to weigh up when you don't have concrete weights and concrete opposition around him. But you probably, once it's soft, I'd imagine, you might not get that either. So I have no idea how he's going to take to his first run in these shores. So it's very difficult to weigh up, but I just think you've got to look at the price and say, not at the moment.
One interesting entry for the Grand Annual and the Plate. I think he's entered the novice handicap as well, and he's been given an Irish rating of 149. Now, obviously, he was quite a promising novice chaser, as people will know. I backed him last year with the Supreme. Firefox, yes, he's shown glimpses over fences, like he's been beaten on occasion, like he's been beaten by some decent horses as well, so the form is stacking up. 149, I think, is quite if he'll obviously get a hike, but I think it's interesting they're deciding to maybe look at the handicaps with him, because he's better than that.
Gordon Elliott, I think. Well, I don't think he is. I mean, Gordon Elliott's kind of mooted the handicap novices chase for the 2.5 mile. I think going up trip seems to be way forward. He's kind of mentioned that he takes a little bit too much time in the air. And I think that's true. I think it was exposed by Andy's stablemate in the Irish Arkle. He just hangs in the air a little bit. He's a neat, efficient jumper, but he's not the quickest. And yeah, maybe there is some untapped potential. But I think 2.5 miles of the novice handicap chase is probably the right way to go. He'd probably be close to top weight, maybe even top weight. And you just don't know how many unexposed types are lurking in behind there. I mean, I think Waterford Whispers is a wise guy's horse, and that he runs Thursday at Punchestown to get his last qualifying run. He looks a kind of obvious kind of blot for that. Before the race was scrapped, the Brown Heads they won that with Allaho, not Allaho, A Plutard. So
yeah,
you've got to kind of be wary of horses that would be maybe more unexposed to them and better treated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll get weights next week, and we'll cover that as well. We'll cover the weights next week when we have. I think they'll be next Tuesday, so we'll get weights, and we'll obviously maybe have more of a handicap say on there. We will head into performances again. It's kind of getting to that stage where, like, you want your last run. I should say, I think qualifying runs. I think the last day is Sunday. I don't think you can qualify for a handicap before after Sunday. So I think this is probably the kind of penultimate weekend we'll see any clues. We're just going to run through again. There's probably enough to get our thoughts on a few here. We'll go to Wednesday in Wetherby. We maybe saw two possible festival contenders win at short prices. Wendigo winning for Jamie Snowden. There is that you can get about 20-1 for the Albert Bartlett, which is, I imagine, where they're going to head with him. I think again he's got the experience of some runs in there. He's run 4 times over hurdles this season. Obviously second to the new line in the Challow, so he's franked that form. Live Conti winning the juvenile hurdle for Dan Skelton. Seemed to be heading towards a triumph. Triumph was mentioned, you're getting about 20-1. What do you think of both of these? Are you any thoughts on them?
No interest to me. I mean, the Wendigo cut, what a joke race at 1-9, and it's cut for an Albert Bartlett. It's ridiculous. I mean, he's got an each way chance, but cutting the 20s, he's in the 33-1 pool for me. But it's an open race. He's entitled to take his chance, and he's kind of solid enough and tentatively backs up the Chapel form. Live Conti, an exciting horse, but I mean, he's got plenty to find with the top 3 in the Triumph market for me, and he's probably quite a late bloomer, so he's maybe one of more interest down the line. I mean, those two, they've got outside chances at best.
Would you think Thursday Ballyblow beating Ballygunner Castle? Gigginstown obviously won this last year with Stellar Story. Gordon Elliott has mooted the battle at 20-1.
He's much more interesting.
Yeah.
On a form perspective, he's more interesting. He's been a decent yardstick.
Yeah.
A bit surprised that the Ballygunner Castle, they didn't go the 3 mile route earlier with him. He was kind of well fended off by Ballyblow. He's a hardy type. He's going to make a better chaser next season. And yeah, there was similarities with Stellar Story and how he kind of did it. He'd probably want it close to bottomless and as attritional as it was last year to get involved, but and vulnerable to anything that might have a bit more class to him. But he did it well, and 20-1, I'd be more interested in him than Wendigo.
I'll give you a lot of credit here because I think you had this horse in your radar before a lot of people, and he's now beginning to show his potential over fences. Mayertown won by 9.5 lengths at Kelso. He has been entered in the Ultima. You're getting about 20-1. Good performance, first of all. And would you rate him for a potential handicap at Cheltenham?
It's just whether he's experienced, isn't he? He's in that novice chase as well. I think he's 127. I think he might be a bit low anyway, and I think they might have to wait with him. But he was very good at Kelso, and it's beginning to come together for him. He's just like a Hoisin-Yor. He shapes as if he's a thorough stayer as well. He just grind them from the front. He was jumping brave. It get better in the second circuit as well. They go on. Yeah, I think he's a horse with massive potential with a big future he's here. I don't think he's a Cheltenham horse this year. I think you might see him do quite well at Aintree or something like that if they want to fling him up. But they're going to go steady with him this season. And I think you might see a kind of a really good, well-rounded horse in open company next season.
There's another Lucinda Russell horse that was quite impressive at Kelso. Primo has obviously won a 2-runner race, but there's an entry for a Grand Annual at 25-1. He kind of looks quite decent again. Is he good enough to be a Cheltenham horse? He's kind of been finding his feet all season, beating the air last time, the Hombre, De Grera. Like, anything kind of liking about him?
He's a confidence booster. I mean, he won a 2-runner race at Kelso, and he just gets confidence boosted. But they rate him highly in the yard. Again, I think he's probably more of a kind of red rum handicap type at Aintree than a Grand Annual horse. I think Cheltenham might be a bit too much too soon for him, because he's on this kind of gradual improve path, and I think a conventional track might suit him. But they do rate him highly, and he's going to be a good handicapper down the line. El Elefante was another one that did well at Kelso to win. She's getting her confidence restored after winning it Ayr and then backing it up at Kelso. Another brave kind of effort from the front. Her jumping's come back. She was touted as a kind of Mare's Chase possible at the start of the season. She's back on track, but I think they're targeting that 3-mile race the end of the season with at Perth with her, the listed chase there, the Mare's race there, so with her. So I think that's her ultimate target. I think that's probably her level as well. But they were 3 nice tights that show that the yard are hitting some form.
We'll go into Ascot on Saturday. We'll start with the Reynoldstown Novices Chase. Apparently, I don't know if you've seen this on social media, but Jinko Blue was going to win at a canter, even though he fell at the third. You see that kicking about? Yeah. Impossible to know, but the changing man, obviously, the Jinko Blue falling at left, the changing man pretty much unchallenged, won by 24 lengths. I'm suggesting what probably, and I'm sure you'll go along with this, probably more of a handicap player than a graded player at that. I don't think he'll get much of a hike for that based on what he's done. I think he's in, let me just have a look, 140 I think he's got for it. Puts him in playing an Ultima.
Yeah, Tizards have a decent record in Ultima, they kind of have a go at it. Yeah, he's an each-way contender in that. I mean, Jinko Blue, he's the classiest horse in race, odds-on favourite, but, you've got to get round. He's sprawled in landing at the third, and he's in the Pendle next week as a result.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And yeah, he was probably the most likely winner, but, it was a race that made me glad that I was at the football, to be honest. It was, for a grade 2, it's pretty ordinary fare, but he's changed about. He's been second a lot. He's got his day there, and he's unexposed. He's a pretty nice kind of honest Harlot. I don't think he's got much up his sleeve, if anything. But he's got that kind of type of profile that people will be attracted to in an Ultima.
We'll go into the Betfair handicap hurdle. Altobelli, who again just seems to be improving and winning handicaps and things like that. It's been a really good season for him so far. He beat a real eye catcher, Joy Mashing for the Skeltons, who was I'm going to probably put up for my tracker. I'll put another one up now, but like Altobelli again, you've got to give it to Harry Fry. I think the bit that annoyed me with this though was, and I'm going to call out Matt Chapman for this, Altobelli's just won a real competitive handicap, and you've got a potential Cheltenham horse there. But all I think he was interested in was talking about Gidley Park, who's now been ruled out, I believe.
Yeah, he's out for this season. I think he's had a setback. And yeah, I wasn't watching ITV coverage. I just saw the race, and he's won it well, and he's probably blown his mark for future Cheltenham assignments, things like that. But we step up and trip suited him. And back to last day when he won.
Yeah, £10
he shaped as if he did a trip, a step up and trip, and it's probably these tracks that kind of play his strengths more, Ascot and Kempton rather than the Cheltenham anyway. So, and that's a big kind of handicap pot in its own right. And yeah, Joey Bashan was a massive high catch on second.
Kelso, do you think?
They might do the more battle bonus and try and get into the county and do that. You can still get that £100,000 bonus is still there.
Well, he's entered for the Coral Cup. I don't know if he's entered for anything else. Again, Skelton's got a few entered for that, as we'll probably cover.
Well, Be Aware is their Coral Cup horse. Yeah. Absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah.
You go to Martin Pike, for instance, and things like that. There are options there. He can move them about. I think Stiff. He has been racing at 2 miles, and he has been racing in a graded race, for instance, and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, he's there. He's on the radar. I don't think he's as obvious as a Be Aware, for instance, down the line, and he has been put in his place before. So, he did shape ominously, promisingly, but he might have been flattered as only one that's kind of genuinely challenged from out the pack. So yeah, hard to weigh up, but he's not really done it around Cheltenham. At least be aware has.
We'll go into the Swinley handicap. Obviously, a really tight finish. Victorino obviously loves Ascot. Won by a nose to 3 under through 5 who'd won it last year. Really good finish. Again, couple of eye catchers in this. Probably Terista maybe as well. Hastings run okay. Made a real mistake at the fourth, which kind of he was hitting at the back anyway. I don't think he was played to win, but I think he's kept on pretty well. Still would say he's okay for a Kim Muir, but you've got to hand it to the one in Victorino. Just put him at Ascot and he'll give you a performance.
4 from 5, and yeah, I mean, 1 at 9-2. Fended off 3 under through 5. He does like that kind of race as well. Won by Enos. And yeah, Venetia Williams, big handicap Saturday. Charlie Deutsch in the saddle. It's exactly what you want. And yeah, when Ayr United were 2-0 up, Falkirk and Victorino actually won a photo for me. I think it's the first photo I've won of it all season. It was looking to be a pretty good day around 3:40 p.m. But yeah, but he did it really well. Knuckled down. He can run okay at Cheltenham. I just don't think it's his bag, is it? And you're getting Ascot Kempton form now. It rarely translates into Cheltenham at spring, and I don't think that will either.
And I don't think this next one will either. We'll go into the Ascot Chase. Obviously, the big race of the weekend. Pick Dory, I thought was superb. Probably one of the best performances all season for me. If you non-Cheltenham races, I would certainly say it's up there. Beats Corbett Cross 10 lengths. Corbett Cross just couldn't go the gallop at all. Long press he pulled up. You can argue that Pick Dory does all way, but I thought he done very, very well to win this.
Yeah, he does what he does. He puts him to the sword. He's got tactical speed. The track suits, and yeah, he won it convincingly. If Paul Nicholls was having a half decent season, it would have been 5-6. Simple as that. He was a bit of a steal. For just horses for coursers, and he goes out and did that, and to keep doing it at 10. The yard really needed that one. It was important for them. He's won it, and he'll be kept fresh for entry, understandably. Cheltenham's, he's obviously not a Cheltenham horse, and yeah, I mean, they just do wonder if, should they have kind of ran him in a King George when they had the chance? He's 10. Is he really improving at 10? Then we might run him in a King George now at 11. I mean, really? I think the ship may have sailed there for him a little bit, but yeah, tactical speed, 2 mile 5, those kind of quirky grade ones that are pretty specific for specific horses work out for him, and surprised he doesn't miss. And yeah, he was good. He was very good. He was very accurate in the air, blemish free, and put rivals that were ill equipped for the test.
Yeah,
to the sword. Corbett's Cross once a kind of soft ground Gold Cup test, doesn't he? But even then, I don't think he jumps well enough. He's probably in between kind of grade 1, grade 2 operator now. He's going to be very hard to place.
Long press something. I don't think.
I was amazed he ran.
Yeah,
amazed. I know Venetia was a go in his game for it, but I thought last day, he had the Cotswold Chase that he won. I thought that was the perfect prep for Cheltenham. Yeah. And I really didn't understand why he was here, and I don't understand why he was in the King George. To be honest, he cannot jump properly this way around. Didn't get it, and he ran kind of accordingly. To be honest, but he's hardly tough to come back, and the fact they have a go, it doesn't put them off. So I mean, I wouldn't be ruling him out each way. I'd be more interested in him each way in a Gold Cup with Corbett's Cross.
Okay, we'll go to Haydock. We'll go first of all. I thought a really nice performance, potential sleeper in the Triumph Hurdle market for Tom Lacey, Gibbs Island. I thought he jumped very well. Again, 2 runs over hurdles so far at Sedgefield and Haydock. Got them in quite quickly. He's probably going to be about kind of 16-20-1 for a Triumph Hurdle, but if it turns into like a burning victory year, you wouldn't rule him out in this.
I'd be amazed if he won a Triumph Hurdle. He should be.
I don't think he'll win, but I can see him like placing.
I can't. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's won it well, but I mean, hopefully he runs and gets some good money. I mean, there's great money down to like 6th and 7th. I mean, he'd be an also ran for me. If he was 66-1, I don't think I'd be interested. But I mean, if he's entitled to take his chance. It's exciting for yards like that to have a potential runner in it. And even if it completely falls apart, something might happen. But I'd be very surprised.
We'll move into the Rendlesham Hurdle. Glennie May Boy won this, beating Beauport, who I was quite baffled at the approach here, but Glennie May Boy just kind of had it his own way, kind of just got going before the third and then third out and just won it well. There's looking at the Skeltons, obviously, there is an entry in the Pertemps. I think he is qualified, I'm right in saying. I think he qualified at I can't remember, I think was that. I can't remember where that was, where he qualified, but 12-1 for a Pertemps. You absolutely can't rule him out for anything because of the trainer, and he's won this pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand why he's been cut though. He's won a Grade 2. He's gone up significantly the handicap. He's cut for a handicap.
Kalili won it. He finished third that.
Why has he been cut for when it? I mean, the handicapper's going to whack him accordingly, so he shouldn't be cut. He's won it well. I just think he's exposed a lack of depth in this division. Really, anything that comes from handicap territory, can really win these Grade 2s pretty comfortably. He had tactical speed that Beauport didn't have. He was the best horse in the race, but it wasn't the usual kind of soft haydock ground that you're accustomed to. And he just had a bit more class at the trip and an extra gear that he could motor home in time. He's going to get a significant rise for that. He's already qualified for the Pertemps, so I mean, with the Skeltons, you think they're very savvy with how they protect marks. He's won that in merit. He's going to take a relatively sizable hit in the weights for it, and he's cut for one of the most competitive 3-mile handicaps of the season. No, I mean it's madness. Really, he should have been 12-1. You'd have to take that Grade 2 value and say that he's an absolute bona fide graded horse in a handicap here, and I don't think he is. I think he's just going to get up in the weights and probably run well, but I think he's likely to be found out by maybe a few that have been better treated.
We'll go to Wincatton. Golden Ace obviously beating Burdett Road. I think the gamble told for Golden Ace. Jumped right all the way round. Beat Burdett Road, who made a few mistakes. I thought, again, Golden Ace obviously is quite an interesting horse this year because I clearly think at the start of the season they were campaigning for a mare's hurdle. You can get 10-1 for a mare's hurdle, which I think tells you everything. 40s for a champion hurdle. You've obviously mentioned all season that the mare's hurdle is a terrible race and a terrible market, but I wouldn't back it at 10-1 for it when you know that she'd struggle staying the trip.
It'll need to be falsely run, I think, for it to have a chance. Sometimes you can get that, but I don't think it would, if Brighter Days Ahead was there. I think if July Flower was there, she'd certainly want stamina. She stays 3, so I think it's tricky. I think if any truly run race, I think their stamina might run dry up the hill.
Where would you, if you were Jeremy Scott, where would you run at Cheltenham?
I think you have to wait to see the makeup of the races. Hopefully, in a Grade 1. I would like to see her run in a Grade 1, but I think I truly run. I would have no qualms if her running in a champion hurdle. I just think good ground would be important to her, and it was drying out the Kingwell and picked off Burdett Road quite well, stuck to her task really well. The rail could have backed out of it, didn't. Burdett Road flung it away with a big mistake in the second last, and I think that kind of did him in. And, I don't think he's lost much in defeat, so I thought it was one of the best races of the weekend. In terms of talents going forward, it's just whether with a mare like that likes good ground, would you want to kind of lumber her with a big weight and a handicap like that in the county, for instance? They've got a lot of thinking to do. I mean, it would either be. I would like to see her maybe. I would actually like to see both of them run the champion hurdle. I think they're
entitled to take a chance.
They both contend. If it particularly cuts up. If the two mares, for instance, didn't, Lucy Mouse seems to be champion hurdle bound anyway, but I mean, you are looking for third there. Third of the champion hurdle would be some achievement. And Burdett Road and Golden Ace are probably the two names right at the front of the queue for that, and behind the obvious market leaders. So yeah, hopefully they take their chance in the champion.
We'll move into Gowran Park on Saturday before we look at what's coming up this weekend. We'll go to the opening race. A nice juvenile performance from Blue Lemons, who formerly on the flat for Richard Hannon, I think rated 98, so a decent operator. Won this pretty well. You can get about 20 to 1 for the Triumph. Would you think of him? Give him any chance at Cheltenham?
No, really, no. No, I mean, I think the Triumph mark at the top is pretty much set in stone. He won it okay, and Willie Mullins isn't averse to just flinging them in there anyway and seeing. But yeah, you need a lot more than that, just as a main success to come out and do something. But the Triumph is a race that you could do it in. Did it okay, not much depth to it. I mean, just because of the trainer, you wouldn't entirely rule it out.
We'll go to the Red Mills trial. Kitzbühel, who won this okay. I noticed he hasn't been entered for anything at Cheltenham. Again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Aintree seems to be more the plan with him.
Liverpool hurdle, says Willie Mullins. Yeah, he's nominated it, and he's won a couple of races now that he's entitled to do very, very easily. Into the 150 bracket now, and
153. Yeah,
he's interesting. He's definitely interesting going forward. Probably not quite Amsterdam material, but not far off it. And he shapes as if 2.5 miles is going to be his bag, particularly around Aintree. And him going there fresh, he'll be a big danger. It'll be a big step up from what he's known, but he certainly looks capable of taking it in his stride. His performance is all right, form boot wise. It's not going to blow anyone away, but visually, it's very good. And he looks like a horse that's got plenty to offer.
Arctic Fire kind of vibes I'm getting from him. Like,
yeah, could be eventually. And he's still a relatively young horse as well. Yeah, hopefully him and Amsterdam are the types that can actually keep themselves sound before and maybe do more early in the season and go to Cheltenham next year.
Classic Getaway beat St Sam in the Red Mills Chase. Obviously, Classic Getaway, bit of a difficult horse to follow. St Sam, well beaten, I would say. Not been his best season. No entries for the festival for Classic Getaway, and maybe one for later on in the season. Like he's still relatively decent mark of like 156. Like he's not terribly out of this. Obviously, there could be something big down the line for him. Maybe
he just has that classic hit and miss Grade 2 horse kind of feel about him, and his rating kind of sums him up, in a going day. This fell in his lap. Once St Sam was heading, he wasn't interested, and Johnny with me seems to be totally out of love with the game. And he's come through in a 3-runner race and picked up the pieces, and in hindsight, it was probably a big price to do so, because soft ground seems important to him. I quite liked him the day at Thurles before, but the decent ground kind of hampered his finishing kick where Appreciate It won, and that was a similar kind of Grade 2 for really exposed Grade 2 types, and he's another one in that bracket where Willie Mullins, like St Sam, and Appreciate It. That's his level and that's his bag for the foreseeable.
We'll move into what's happening this weekend. I actually quite like this meeting. I've always said that I wouldn't be taking it in note for a Cheltenham festival, but I think it is a good meeting in itself and produces some decent horses. We'll start with the Pendle Novices Chase. Jinko Blue looking to bounce back after falling last weekend in here at 13 to 8. Rubo, who I thought ran a great race last time out, finished second. 9 to 4. You've got Imperial Saint for Hobbs and White. You've got Astil Bob in here as well. I actually think if all these take up their mounts, I think it could be a very, very competitive race here.
Yeah, and I quite like Rubo.
Yeah,
he had a hard race closing down Loudon Sun, but it was a good run, particularly after falling, chasing debut, coming back, doing that at second, and we know he loves it around Kempton. He's a sharp horse. He shapes as if we get 2.5 to test it around here is a good idea. He's getting £5 from Jinko Blue, and he's only £2 inferior in the weights. And he might just have enough tactical speed around here to beat him. Yeah, I quite like him in this. It was an innocuous fall. It wasn't really a fall. It's just a dodgy landing. It reminded me of how Shishkin actually went down.
Yeah,
It was a false step in the King George. He kind of just sprawled, and it wasn't really of his own doing. So that's probably why he's entitled to take his chance here before Cheltenham restore confidence. But he's not massively clear. It's a different kind of track and test. And yeah, I think Rubo might just be able to do it. I mean, Paul Nichols's record in this is incredible. He's won 3 of the last 4 with similar types of horses, really. Just whether that 2 week kind of gaps is a quick enough turnaround, because he did have a hard enough race, but I think he's got enough tactical speed here to trouble Jinko Blue in this race. So it's definitely an interesting little renewal.
We'll move into the Adonis Juvenile Hurdle. We've been doing this show a long time, and we've had horses who come to this race, win this, and then they go short at Cheltenham, and it's way too soon a turnaround. The fact that Lulamba's even been mentioned for this concerns me, because if you remember Nicky Henderson after when he beat Mondo Man at I think it was Ascot,
Yep.
he said, "We'll just go straight to the Triumph. We feel as if he's got enough experience. He's surprised is there. We're happy with them." And now he's mooting him to go here, and Palladium's mentioned as well. It would actually put me off if Lalamba ran here for the Triumph.
He isn't going to run, is he?
Palladium probably more likely to run, but just the fact he's mentioning that, the fact he's even explored the Adonis to me is concerning.
It's just gamesmanship.
Think
It's
so?
just words. It's just words. It's happening early. He's going from 10 to 11 to 6 to 4 today. He's not running, I don't think. This is
I
just...
wouldn't back Palladium for it. I back Mondo Man. I think's the bet here at 7-4, and I would give a real each way shout to St Pancras for Toby Laws.
Yeah, I mean, Mondo Man, he was fiercely fresh, wasn't he? Far too keen. Drying ground at Kempton, 2 mile. Might not exactly be his bag. Palladium definitely needs experience, and they're mooting a flat campaign with him anyway. OPEC's not out of it.
Yeah.
James Owen kind of likes him. Sauvignon pulled up last time, but again, Paul Nicholls' horses around this meeting definitely need enormous respect. So yeah, I mean, Henderson, he's ran Fussell Raffles in this when it won. So I mean, it's not entirely beyond him. I'd be very surprised with the Lama run. I think it's all kind of hearsay. I think it was kind of, he did his Cheltenham tour early in the week, didn't he? I thought it was just kind of polite sparring, I thought, with the media. The only way he runs is if he's just a little bit too fresh at home and maybe takes some of the keenness out of him. And the only reason he'd want it is because he's probably only had one run. So it wouldn't overly bother me either way. The fact that they're floating it doesn't bother me at all. And I just think it's kind of, I think it's an indication that silly season has begun and we're entering preview night.
That's the thing, though. You don't need it. He doesn't. After the year he had last year, he doesn't need to do it. Just be. If I was Nicky Henderson, I'd be coming back off the year I had last year at Cheltenham. I'd be quite cautious this year. I'd be like, I'm not playing any mind games. I'm just keeping everything conservative. I don't get why he's coming out and saying now, well, Lambert needs experience, when he came out after Ascot and said we'll just go straight to Cheltenham with him because he's really surprised us in how well he was.
That's just him, isn't it? He's a walking, talking contradiction. He'll give you a quote. He'll give you a quote when you want, and then he'll give you a quote again, but with something that doesn't marry up for what he said last year. That's what he's like. He just speaks from the heart and he speaks off the cuff, and I think it kind of highlights how fluid plans are and they can change. I mean, it's a different kind of set of circumstances. But look at Sub-Gino. It looked like to be an innocuous cut. The next day it develops into something different. It might just look like pretty slow race planning from week to week, and race to race. But actually, with the horses that you're dealing with, circumstances change on a minute by minute basis when you're monitoring all these massive thoroughbreds. I think it's easy to forget that, and that's the case it feels with the Lambert. I still think it's unlikely to run. The market is beginning to cotton on a little bit. You get Harold in slightly in the week. Now he's back out to 6-4. And, there's no way bookies will have this at 6-4.
No.
You cannot offer this horse odds against if you think he's running. And I don't think he will.
We'll move into the Dovecote. We've got Miami Magic, who ran pretty well in second last time out. Tripoli Flyer comes here after winning well at Musselburgh. Miami Magic's pretty short at 7-4, I would say, but again, there's good form in behind Potter's Charm at Christmas. I think 7-4 is fairly short, and I actually like Tripoli Flyer based on what he did last time.
I like what he did at Musselburgh. And I think he should improve for it. His jumping needs to be a bit slicker. It was pretty airy in the first circuit, but he put it to bed quite well. Miami Magic, probably the rightful favourite because it's the highest rated. He is getting weight all round as well. And he's got course and distance form, which around Kempton's pretty valuable.
Yeah.
He's probably been freshened up for this. Tripoli Flyer and Celtic Dino are two big dangers. Sam Thomas absolutely loves this meeting. So yeah, I would definitely have them closer to the favourite.
Okay, we'll move into the Ladbrokes Trophy, where again possibly some Grand National Ultima clues in here. Highland in here at 4-1 for Henderson, again been touted as an Ultima horse all season. Aroko's in here as well at 5s. Lowry's Bar, who I've had on my radar for the Ultima for quite a while. Beachcomber, Our Power, Can Do Kids in here as well. Obviously got a national entry. Anything you like in here? I think this is quite a competitive race. I don't see them all running though.
No, I mean, Aroko, I think, needs rain badly.
Yeah.
Highland's not going Ultima, skipping Cheltenham for Grand National bid.
Fair enough.
I mean, I quite like Our Power each way.
Yeah.
Course and distance form. He's had a decent break. He's 10 now, a bit long in the tooth, might be a little bit exposed, but he's forward and he probably wants to genuinely win this. Well, maybe others are kind of out for a spin a little bit. I don't think Aroko's a Kempton horse at all. I mean, I'd rather see him running the Ultimate as a preparation. This isn't traditionally a good Grand National prep race either.
Nah.
The Highlands here, obviously, he's ran well behind the Jukebox Man. He's unexposed. He's probably the rightful favourite. I mean, I don't think he's kind of massively well in. I can see Beachcomber running well. I think he could take the front three of the market on here with some decent, more kind of exposed and tougher handicap types in behind him. Beachcomber, I think, has got a chance. Katate Door's very interesting at the bottom of the weights. And yeah, and I'm drawn towards Our Power at the moment.
Okay, we'll move into Newcastle. The ultimate test of slowness. We've got the Eider handicap chase. If I see a slow footballer, I'll compare them to saying they could win an Eider chase. Fight quite competitive. O'Connell's in here at 6-1, obviously looking for the fourth timer. You've got Collector's Item, Angler's Crag, Passing Well, Egbert. I quite like Sporting Ace for Neil King, maybe each way here off 120. Don't know again if he's definitely going to go, but I think there is kind of decent form in behind as well. He's won. I thought his run last time at Lingfield was pretty good when he won over 3 mile 5, so we know he can potentially get a further trip. I can see him being an each way player, but again, it's very, very competitive as always. This is the one race of the season. I'm like, it feels as if it goes on for about 3 hours.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it can be really grueling, but it's quite dry out there. And
yeah,
a bit of a worry for last year's winner, Angler's Crag. He wants rain, and I thought he had a brilliant float up last time out with fourth in the Edinburgh National for this. So if it was soft, it was the usual kind of traditional massive slog of a test, he would be top of the list for me, the defending champion.
Okay.
Egbert has a chance. He's progressing, and I think Alan King's Yard are coming over that kind of sticky spell where they had a bug. Wouldn't rule out Sporting Ace. Like Choose the News and Bodistava as well are pretty interesting for Mark Walford and John McConnell as well. So yeah, there'll be plenty of lurkers beyond there. Prince Defishu was second in this last year, and he's got totally dropped in the race. He's rating 108. Probably out the weights a little bit, but you wouldn't categorically rule him out on old form. And Ewan Williams he's really good at kind of back numbering targets from last year. So yeah, there's plenty of options. It's a puzzle where you probably have to wait to see what the ground's like on the day.
Yeah, we'll move just Fairyhouse quickly. We won't obviously get in depth on these because we don't really have prices. But Bobby Joe Chase obviously is always a competitive Grade 3 at Fairyhouse. You've got the likes of Intense Raffles. I Am Maximus in there as well. You've got Nick Rocket. There's a few potential national clues in that race.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I Am Maximus really came to life last season when he won this. And you think he's got the form again. I think the only one I can see troubling him is Nick Rocket.
Yeah.
Raffles could run well, but he's got plenty to find it here. Yeah, you have to see wait what Willie Mullins runs and the final makeup of the field to see, but it would be between Nick Rocket and Ian Maximus.
The Colreevy Mares Novices Chase Bioluminescence is entered. I'm imagining she'll take up her run in this. You've got Spindleberry as well. Bioluminescence, I know it's the Friday and I know it's obviously quite late and I know it's soft ground, but does she need to run here? Does she need more experience, you think?
Probably not, but I mean, it's just such a glaring, easy opportunity for her, isn't
Yeah.
it? She's the best of these in ratings. She's the best jumper. Spindleberry would be a threat if take a chance. She's been off about 71 days, and she just had 4 week gap in between here. You've got another 3 weeks of Cheltenham. It might be a small concern if it becomes a little bit more of a test than it was, but it shouldn't be. It should be a nice kind of spin out for her. Soft ground. It's a listed prize. It's a good pot. A talented mare like that, she should be running in them and winning them. So yeah, might as well strike when the iron's hot. It's a suitable trip. The ground seems to be in her favour. I don't think there's a lot to be worried about, if anything.
We'll go just quickly. We've got good action on Sunday. There's 3 graded races on Sunday at Naas. We'll have a column on that on Sunday as well, as we will Saturday. But the National Spirit Hurdle, did you see Nicky Henderson saying that he was very tempted to take Constitution Hill here?
No.
He would mop up, as I would say. But again, this is obviously, it's a grade 2, 2.5 miles. You've got likes of Salver in here. In the mean line, Blue Kangaroo. Again, it's always a race that you actually forget is the winner gets 45 grand, so it is a competitive race.
Oh, yeah.
Until I see price, I'm not sure, but I think Salver deserves a mention as long as he's. I thought he ran pretty well in second last time after a horrendous fall at Cheltenham. I thought he ran quite well behind Neiman Line.
It could be his day. It could be his day this time. He gets £3, doesn't he, from the top two as well, Blue Kangaroo and Neiman Lion, and yeah, I mean, the Yard are in better form now, and they like this kind of race, they like this part of the world, and he's going to probably get the ground that he wants. Maybe wants a bit more rain. If it was soft, I'd certainly be backing him. Steel Ally's not without a chance either. It's an interesting little race. And based on his last run, Silver would probably be the percentage call at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll move in, obviously, looking into our, as I say, there'll be a column Saturday, Sunday. Callum will have his selections that we'll share as well. We'll move into our anti-post selections. We don't have any this week. We might have one next week when we get the weights out. I think we'll definitely try and have one. Into a tracker horse for this week. I think you know mine already. I thought Joy Masham was an absolutely real eye catcher and Saturday behind Altobelli. I don't know if Coral Cup or Martin Pipe might be the plan. I can see he's entered in the Coral Cup, but I would give him a real shout wherever he goes. Anything for yourself?
Two in the same race, second and fourth in the Grand National Trial at Haydock. Apple Away was hammered in. Didn't quite get a ground, didn't quite get to the winner, but a big kind of staying test is what she wants in softer ground, and something like the Midlands National would be right up her street. You talk to her just after Cheltenham week, if they're so inclined. I thought she ran pretty well. I think she's getting the hang of things. She isn't the biggest mare in the world, but she is getting there now, and jumped pretty cleanly. Could go to get tabs of winner. Famous Bridge, who might have a chance in an Ultima, for instance. And the fourth, making again after a flop at Windsor over hurdles. That was a quite encouraging run. He was obviously quite ring rusty, didn't have his ground. Now he's entered the Kimure again, and if he gets it bottomless, he could run another big race. Obviously, second to know the way you're thinking now. Obviously, there might be another kind of GP plot that he bumps into there, but he's 25 to 1 bracket. He could go there, or he'd go the Midlands National, but he'd be ground dependent. But those are two that are definitely of interest if they get soft ground conditions over marathon trips, whether it be the Midlands National, a Kimure, or a bottomless Scottish National towards the end of the season. There is definitely something in there for them. So, I mean, look at the kind of regional nationals and see if they're in there, but they would need rain.
He's not entered at Cheltenham, but I thought chasing out the Blues was actually quite eye-catching in the Temps qualifier at Haydock that One Big Bang won. Dodie the Great was second. Chasing out the Blues had a lot to do and stayed on well to finish third. I don't think he's entered in the Temps, but he obviously has qualified. I'm not overly ruling him out potentially being a handicap player down the line. Like looking at him, like he's only beaten 8.5 lengths. He had a lot to do, made a lot of headway, and actually did really well to finish third and get qualified. But again, I don't think I can see an entry for Cheltenham. But I wouldn't rule him out either being a potential player down the line.
Yeah, I don't think it's a pretentious horse, but I watched him at Ayr. I backed him in the ring, and I really liked him, and he won quite well.
Yes.
2 runs ago, and there's a nice 3 mile hurdle in Scottish National Meeting. That would be lovely for him. So I think
that could be the one. Yeah. What do you think here at kind of anti-post players so far? Like obviously, like we've got entries out. Like it's quite difficult to really kind of play because we haven't been playing. We haven't been playing as much as we usually do because obviously prices are there, and I don't think there is a lot of value at all. Would you be happy with your book so far heading into the festival?
I'm relatively pleased enough. You know, I mean, it's not. It's a book that doesn't take much reading, to be honest. It is not. I've not played a multiple. I've not played in a Grade 1 race that much. I just simply don't think that the prices are there, and this close in, it's when bookies will begin to kind of take certain horses on and see shapes. So I don't think there's much incentive to get involved. I really don't. I just keep doing up short lists and whittling them off one by one and seeing what's what. I mean, Angel's Dawn, Nanter's Chase.
Delta Watt's a good pick as well.
It's been suitably covered. Delta Watt, I think, has got his chance there. I think Be Aware's got a good chance in the Coral Cup. It's just kind of 4 or 5 like that. I mean, really, I've not had even out with the show. I've not had any kind of major plays. You know, I've not had more than 8. I don't think 8 or 9 tops. It's just not been there this year. It's not for the one or try. You know, I have looked, and Albert Bartlett did race and poked at Fishery Lane, and it's not really come out since. But he's still been cut to 25, so it doesn't take much to cut them, and eventually, you know, on the day, on the week beforehand, you know, bookmakers will start pushing horses out to start generating some interest, because I'm not entertaining the current prices that are on offer, really, and I don't see the need to. You know, you've just got a couple of weeks to wait. You'll probably get a better price. You'll know the ground. You'll know the opposition. You'll know weights. You'll know jockey bookings potentially. You know, you'll get the preview circuit where you'll probably get more information. You might as well. I mean, been patient pretty much all year. You might as well wait a little bit longer. And if something pops up next week that I see, then possibly. But the other factor is, you know, you've got a lot of kind of short price favourites there, and a lot of them look very hard to oppose. And if you look at recent history, the vast majority now win.
And they go off bigger prices on the day as well.
Yes, most of them do. Some of them don't. Some of them don't towards the end of the week because if they collaterally build up, you know, they're just going to get shorter and shorter. But normally you get at least somebody that raises their head above the parapet 10 minutes before the off, maybe, and stands your price. But yeah, it's you're dealing with kind of really kind of thin gruel in terms of value and prices, and it's not really worth it at the moment, to be honest. But there's a few decent ones there that have shortened.
I will just say fair play to William Hill, because I think they're the only bookie that are doing this right now. They're refunding you non-run or no bet today after the entries, because I've got 4 here that I just back randomly. I'll run through the list just to see what you think. Just for outside plays, I backed Super Sunday for the Martin Pipe about 10-1. Olympic Man I backed for the National Hunt Chase at 12 for some reason. Etalon I backed for the Play at 12. Got money back on that. James's Gate back for the Coral Cup. No entries for all 4 of them. Like, not great prices. I think the best price is 12-1, but like it shows you kind of if you're looking to go back in some bets, like you're getting your money back with William Hill. If you're going William Hill, non-run or no bet and they take them out, you're getting your money back instantly, because I don't think that's the same with other bookies. I think they wait until the declarations. So
Yeah, they could wait till do it. Yeah, it's a goodwill gesture, but I mean, you get that security of getting back your money early on. But I mean,
and going back in.
But the prices there that you all mentioned, you know, I mean,
they're not great. Yeah, they're just random, just wee bets.
They're absolutely abysmal. I think. I mean, I'm just not. Anti-post is about kind of taking risks from afar, and I would rather not have. I would rather have non-run or no bet coming in now. I don't want it at New Year and take 8 points shorter. It's an excuse to have your overrounds massive, to cover every single base possible, and to actually form a market that isn't formed. And therefore, instead of opening the market and think, well, that's a big price, the market's not open. It's been open for months. And it's already been set in stone, and it's already so tight and so contracted. Sometimes you can take no bet and see disparities and say, well, the difference isn't that big, you might as well take it. And obviously you would. But you know, I'd much rather have the price, because it is part of the game, and you know, the prices just aren't there full stop, and no bet from that far out contributes to dismal value. And is it really a bet when you've got that kind of safety net there anyway? So yeah, I mean, it's the good thing is that you've got choice, and you've got cover and things like that, and everyone's each to their own and what they want to do. But that far out, you know, you're not sweating over will it run or won't it run, but you know, you're still essentially taking, you know, a poor price far out, and that's what they want you to do. So yeah, you get choice, you get options, and people will bet different ways. But I mean, I just think the value of it, even with no bet, has been sucked dry a long way from home in Cheltenham festivals, and it reflects in my book. I mean, it's comfortably staked year by year. It's going down. It's harder to find. It's harder. I mean, you need a lot to be. You need a lot to go right for you at the best of times, you know, and you know, taking a slightly worse price a day. It was worse price beforehand anyway. You know, you just you want more of the margin in your favour, and that's normally what Anti-Post offers you. It normally offers you an exciting ticket at a big price for the race. You know, if it goes by the wayside, it does. You know, I think most Anti-Post punters understand that if you take flyers, but yeah, I've taken a couple of massive flyers outsiders, and a couple of them have gone the wayside, and that's how it goes. But it's incredibly difficult, I would think, either way, whatever way you cut it.
We will be back next week. As I said last week, we will have our Cheltenham preview show going out on Sunday, where we'll preview the big races and obviously have a look at our events. But we'll have a normal show next week as well. So to a double bill next week, Callum. It's getting to that stage. It's been a sad week. Obviously, again, like we want to just echo our condolences to the Sullivan family, and hopefully that they are honoured well at the festival. Hopefully they're honoured well going forward, and from now, just hopefully it can a wee bit brighter, hopefully in a few weeks, and we can look forward to Cheltenham.
Absolutely, yeah. Keep Michael Sullivan's memory burning brightly.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you all soon.